Good day, everyone. My name is Dan of Sharpe Trade LLC. We are continuing our free online course or series or whatever you want to call it on trading psychology and emotional discipline. You can find this video actually as part of a larger series, so please keep that in mind. And you can find it in a couple of different places. Obviously, you're seeing this video somewhere. You can find it if you go to Sharpe Trade itself, go to Free Education Series, scroll down. There, that's the entire playlist, right? So this is the standalone video, but sometimes people run across these standalone videos and they're like, how do I find the larger playlist? How do I find the larger series? So you can go there, Free Educational Series, at the homepage of sharpetrade.com. Scroll down. Once you get there, you'll find it. Or you can go to Sharpe Trade's YouTube page, scroll down. You should find a playlist on the YouTube page for Sharpe Trade on trading psychology and emotional discipline. You can watch all the videos there. Keep it simple. So in the last entry in this course, or this free series, we were talking about be humble, understand there's many processes to trade. So we were talking about strategies and processes, but we also want to say, like, keep on the subject of strategies, on the subject of processes, keep it simple. Seriously, there's a trap there. I mean, human beings are creatures that create tools. We're masters of making tools. We make tools we don't even understand. We don't make tools that's like, I can't explain how that works. Fantastic tool, right? We got our cell phones. Fantastic tool. Could I explain to you exactly all the inner workings if you open one of these things up and what is that piece? I don't know. We're masters at making tools. That can be a bit of a trap in trading. You should keep it very, very simple. Keep your process simple. Don't overcomplicate it. And again, this is a human trap. This is a human failing. Because we are so good at tools that we think we can tool a process or a strategy to death. Don't. That's a trap. I know, because that's a trap I've gotten sucked into a couple of times. Several years ago, I started FX trading and looking at FX trading. And I thought when I looked at FX trading, the way I'm going to approach it is with like a technical study on a candle chart. That's the way I'm going to approach it. There's other ways to approach it. That's the way I was approaching it. And honestly, I just got sucked into a trap of technical tools and I made it way more complicated than it needed to be. Wildly more complicated than I needed to be. And I had to scale back. As a matter of fact, I've mentioned this before. I'll say it again here since it applies to this entry. It's something I've said before that if you're going to trade in that way, right, have some sort of technical study on a chart, then don't, like, I've got a personal rule, right? And I said this before and somebody else picked up on it. My personal rule is no more than 3. 3 is like the upper limit. If it hits 3, I'm at my maximum, and I probably should scale back to where on the overlay itself, I only have 2. Like technical studies. Only 2. And it was funny because somebody else caught that comment and they passed it on to us and they're like, oh my goodness, I heard Dan say that. And I have said that exact same thing. Like 2 tools is, okay, and 3 is too many. And I was like, wow, it's just really wild to run across somebody else and hear him say that. And I just thought, yeah, you know why? It was interesting because you're an actual trader and you understand the actual trap of overcomplicating things. I mean, real traders understand that this is like, that technical study stuff, tea leaf reading in some aspects, even though I use some of it, it's a trap. So real traders actually, when they hear that, they go, yep, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, don't be surprised, right? But yeah, that's all said to highlight the point of just keep it simple. I've got one of those technical processes I use, a technical overlay. It's the candles, and it's 1 EMA. Just one, and that's it. So that's the magic system, Dan? No, I'm trying to highlight, keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. That's what I'm trying to highlight. But all that EMA does is give me a segmented event, right? And after that, listen, It's funny, when Rob and I first met, we sort of tangled on this one topic, and I concede defeat. He was right, I was wrong. Rob's thing has been over at DTG since the rise of the internet trader, as he refers to it, or really since 2006, post Reg NMS. There's been this belief among new traders, you got to have an algo, you got to have an HFT thing, and we've talked about that before. I had an entry, discussing, some of the conversations that we've had. But a point Rob has made, and this is the area where he and I sort of, And at first, I argued the point because there's a colloquial understanding of the word gambler. And that's how I was taking it, because there's a sort of a popular, a vulgate, the colloquial understanding of that term. When somebody hears that term, it puts a certain mental outlook in their brain of just the degenerate, spending away all their money. That's not what Rob's talking about. The conversation was, we're all gamblers. And I'd say, no, we're not. Because I had that, when people hear that word, there is that vulgate understanding of that word. And I'm like, no, we're not. And yeah, we are. It's like, no, we're not. But when he explained his thought process, I'd have to say he's absolutely correct. He's right. In the sense of like a professional gambler, and I don't care, this is not trading, this is not stocks, this is everything. This applies to all of life. If you're starting a new business, right? I've got friends of mine that own their own businesses, brick and mortar businesses. Several businesses come to mind. One of my buddies, he owns nicest guy, just the nicest guy in the world. He owns like a safe. They sell safes, antique safes. He even deals in antique safes. He's a locksmith, brick and mortar, very successful in what he does. If you start a business like that, you're gambling. In the sense, not the degenerate gambler that's pissing away all of his money, okay, but in the sense of there's the future, there's risk, there's unknown. Is the business going to succeed or not? It's a gamble. It's a gamble. You start a flower shop. You start, let me think some other. Somebody that does windows, right? Installs windows and installs doors. Professional, like commercial grade windows in commercial buildings. And you start that business, it's a gamble whether it will succeed or not. What we're saying is it's an unknown future event, and there's risk involved. And you're willing to shoulder that risk. Right? You have no idea nobody can predict that it will succeed or not. It's the same in trading, and I think you need to embrace that mindset. And when we use the word gamble, that's what I'm referring to. All unknown future events that have risk assigned to them that everybody on planet Earth partakes of. I got news for you. If you partake of a 9-to-5 job, this is something I said like 9 years ago, but there's risk involved, right? Are you going to lose the job? There's a certain benefit of safety and going to some work. I don't like the idea of working for somebody else, but 9 to 5, but you get fired. And then you're out on your own, and you have no income. So there's risk. There's risk assigned to every future event. The reason I'm talking about this is because we're talking about the simplicity. Your process should be simple. Your process should be simple. It should give you some sort of events, right, that you look at. We talk in our short-term trading course of not just one, but several different processes. And we hope that when people get to the end of the 12 courses and the library on the forums that has all the supplemental information, they'll see the broad overlay is you got to put it in an event, here's the risk, and you got to have that aspect of just like, I'm going long, I'm going to lay it down, I'm going long here, right? Or I'm taking a short position here, or I'm going non-directional here, I'm going to assume that risk. That whatever's happening is going to hold true, and I'm going to profit by it, and I'm going to roll the dice and let her see how she flies. You got to have that process a little bit. You got to be more keyed into that than some technical tool, because what happens is people just get all laid up in just the technical study mumbo jumbo stuff. Some of which I use, but they make it so complicated. Oh my God! Seriously, I mean, I've read people have brought their strategy to me, and it's like, Dan, read the strategy, and it's like, oh my God, you need a PhD to read this. Like, how do you ever get to the point where you actually pull the trigger and take a trade? Keep it simple. Like I said, if you want to talk technical studies and candles and stuff, I've got a process I use, 1 EMA. That's it. The advantage is not in the EMA. It's not in the time frame. It's how I manage the risk. That's where the magic happens. Keep it simple. And even in this series, we're going to keep it simple, right? As we said in the last entry, people sometimes go on and on and on and on and on about trading psychology and emotional discipline. And we're just going to talk about basic traps that people get involved in. We're not going to stretch this out for years on end. Here are the basic human failings. Here's the basic problems that happen to everybody. You're not alone if you've overcomplicated things. Here's us saying that. But we're going to keep the series itself brief. We're going to try and keep it simple. We've got some topics that come through again and again, so we're going to bring them up. We're going to put it in the series, and then we're going to end it, right? Like Seinfeld, where double dip in the chip. You should just put the chip in, pull out the dip, and then end it. It's over. Same thing, right? We're going to keep this trading psychology and emotional discipline playlist. We're going to try and keep it simple. Keep your processes simple. I mean, seriously, there are background, how do I want to phrase this? There's like background information that you use to decide where you're going to trade at all, period. What markets, stock, am I going to be in stocks? Am I going to be over here? That's all background information. But when it comes to the process itself, I'm a firm believer in this. People can yell at me if they want. When it comes to the process itself, and you look at, okay, am I going to take this trade or not? It should really take minutes to decide, if not seconds, depending on the periodicity. You shouldn't have to go through a checklist like you're like you're going to take a 747 down the runway. It doesn't require that sort of checklist. Keep it simple. Okay, and so for now, that has been just this entry in our series, our playlist of trading psychology and emotional discipline. And as always, stay safe, trade well, and remember that love doesn't cost a dime.